So much for joining our Hangout. We're absolutely delighted to have with us Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who arrived here in London and obviously was at the Olympic Village last night cheering on the athletes. We hoped to have David Rudisha with us. He was with us just a few minutes ago, but had to excuse himself. Of course, we know he's running tomorrow. All our hopes and prayers on a PM are with him, and so we said to him, go and prepare yourself. In the meantime, 1 PM, let's talk about the athletes, the Olympics so far, and your hopes for them.
Well, usually some people have begun the blame game for saying, well, Kenyans, athletes have disappointed us in these Olympics and so on. I think that we should be more positive as Kenyans. That Olympics is about participation, not necessarily just winning medals. Some countries come here and leave without even a bronze medal, but yet they leave satisfied that they participated. I think that our team has done well. So far we've managed to win 6 medals, and that is not a mean achievement by any standards. There are still some other events which are coming. There may have been some mishap for some of our athletes. Talking to them, like I was talking to David Rudisha a few minutes ago, he told me that about 3 athletes suffered last-minute injuries, which somehow disabled them to perform to their capacity, and that somehow robbed us of medals we would have won. But then we also must appreciate that other countries are also improving their training skills and so on, and that we need to invest more in training of our athletes, and also in terms of preparations before the Olympics. By and large, I think that we have not done well.
Okay, so it's optimistic there and also a positive perspective. And 1 PM, the audience really are people who are digital savvy. So they're blogging. I think you're probably on many of the other social media platforms. And perhaps this is something you actually mentioned in the interview earlier, is the impact that the bloggers, the tweeters, the people on social media have on an athlete's psyche as he's about to perform. And maybe you don't know this, but a couple of the athletes have told us they felt such immense pressure and were so engaged in discussions going on online that it impacted somehow. How do we encourage people to have a positive attitude about the country, about the endeavors, about the countrymen? Because this is the whole mood and spirit of Kenya House right here in London.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I want Kenyans to be more patriotic. Particularly when you have got Kenyans out there who are running, representing the nation. They are carrying our flag. All that they need is encouragement. Look at it as soldiers who are in trenches fighting for us. They are giving the best of themselves for the nation. The last thing you want to see are negative messages coming through the blogs, blaming them for disbands the Athletic Kenya, poorly prepared and so on. These athletes, they are still here. The game is not yet over. So you need to be more positive as Kenyans. Let us be more patriotic as a people, and let us also be more understanding. We will do a postmortem after the games are over, but the games are on. The final whistle has not been blown. We still have about 5 more events where Kenyans are going to be participating. So the last thing you want to see is this kind of insults which are coming through the social media.
You know, as our athletes stand there, prepare, train for years, some 8, 10 years to do what they do, we have a job too, and it's to cheer them on, to try to be positive and not be a virus, literally being negative and spreading, you know, that negativity. Let's talk 1 PM about, before we bring in some of the people who are joining us online, let's talk about investments. Because one of the things that's happening here, of course, is meetings with investors and the diaspora as well. Any gains so far in terms of investments?
Yeah, I think we've done very well in these last days here, and also the other week we were in China, in trying to market Kenya. It is something that we have continued to do over the last 4.5 years. And this has actually helped to change the perception about Kenya and to create more excitement and interest in Kenya. Like here, it was a multi-sectoral mission that we sent here to market Kenya, and I've come here as a follow-up to what the President did here last week. This morning, I met with a number of investors who were there at the Kenya Investment Conference. They wanted one-on-one, and they want also assurances, political assurances about the post-elections Kenya. And I was able to tell them that, look, Kenya is going to be there, and it's going to be a stable Kenya. And we are going to go through peaceful, free and fair elections, because structures have been created to do so. Now, our team that was here came here to market Kenya in the field of energy. There were quite a number of people who were interested in investing in energy, particularly green energy. Then the port, Lamu, the Lapsset corridor, the Lamu, South Sudan, and Ethiopia. The railways, the pipeline, the refinery, the roads, and then the tourist resort cities along the corridor. And they did very well. Then there is also the Konza City, the Silicon Valley of the Savannah, as it's being marketed.
Silicon Valley of the Savannah.
Yeah. The Bangalore of Africa.
Okay.
So, and you can see that people are beginning to realize that these are not just pipe dreams, but realities, and that there is commitment, dedication to ensure that they become real projects. So I'm seeing that the investment, the investment public generally are beginning to look more positively towards Kenya as a result of the efforts which have been put by the government over the last 4.5 years.
I've been at Kenya House for the past 2 weeks and can confirm it's daily meetings. People are putting effort, and the government really, Bwana PM, has pulled together on this. And normally our politics can be quite dirty, there's a bit of mud being thrown around, but here in London it's a united front that the coalition government is presenting, which is amazing. Let me incorporate now some views from some of those who are joining us. And please, we have first and foremost in our booth on the other side of Kenya House, Waziri, Minister of Sports and Youth Development as well. It is Paul Otwoma. And with him, the great Kipchoge Keino. Gentlemen, please contribute to this discussion. And from your point of view, let's talk about the sport. Waziri, of course, has said we should. What would you like to say to Kenya about our sports, our performance so far in the way forward?
Julie, I have to say that so far is just to echo what the Prime Minister of Kenya, the discussion you have had, that the country is already in the Olympics. Our sportsmen and women are already participating and representing our country. The best we can do, like patriotic citizens, is to give them all the support, all the cheering, whether they lose or win. That's part of the Olympic spirit. And if we want to do better, of course, we'll have a lot of room to discuss that after the Olympics. So far, we have one gold medal. Of course, we expected more, but we are still expecting to win some gold medals before the games are over. And we are cheering on. Rudisha is there. Jelimo did very well this morning when she ran. I saw that she was quite okay. Our marathon team arrived this morning. They arrived well. They are already in camp, and we have hope that as a country we may have not gotten certain medals, but the rest we expect at least to get something.
Our icon, our sport icon, and of course heading NOC for Kenya, the National Olympic Committee, Kipchoge Keino. We spoke some time back, and you said, look, let's not give numbers. Let's just say that if our athletes do their best, that's all we can ask for. What would you like to say today about our performance, and what you think Kenyans should take from this?
Well, I would like to say that the Kenyans have done very well. the standard of competition in the Olympics today is very high. We did prepare our team very well.
Can we hold the mic up, please?
We did prepare our team well, and I feel that the Kenyan athletes, they have done very well. Some of them we didn't realize that they are injured, but we have a few athletes we were relying for them to get a goal. They have injuries which have been reported early so that we can be able to take care of. But I must assure the Kenyans, we are here, as the Minister say, and the Prime Minister say, we are here to take part. And the most important, we have some major events which are still coming up, 800, and we have 5,000 women. We have the men's also are going to take part in marathon. We also have the women 800, which is going to be on, and this event we are likely going to get some medal. And the athletes this morning I talked to them, they are prepared and they are ready to do their best.
Thank you so much for that. We've got a young lady in pink. Please introduce yourself and make your comment, ask your question.
Hello, my name is Mary, and I go to Yale University in the United States.
Yale University. And
yes.
What are you studying?
I'm studying economics, and right now I'm actually at Cambridge. I'm doing a summer abroad program.
Fantastic.
And that has been really an amazing experience for me. And what I just wanted to ask the Prime Minister would be, I know most people don't get the opportunity that I got to go to the United States and study, and most of them would prefer to study in Kenya, but the education system does not really appeal to many, and I'm just wondering what the government is doing to improve the public education system, which is more affordable to the Kenyans. So just that, yeah.
Thank you for that question. Education is key. 1 p.m. to the future of our country. We'll address that in just a moment. Let me just go to somebody else. We have iHub joining us from Nairobi. Please introduce yourself and make your comment or ask your question.
Hi, Julie. Unfortunately, it's raining bad outside there, so I hope it won't interfere much. My name is Kachwanya, talking from Nairobi, iHub. The notion, the expectation of many Kenyans were that some of the long-distance events, the athletes were going to win those things. Now, the reports coming out from many people is that maybe there's a problem in the Team Kenyan camp. So maybe, I don't know, one of the officials can comment if there is really a problem and what are the steps. Because some of the people I've been speaking to today were like, there's been a problem for some time, but things are have been going on well, so most people just assume that things are well, while the truth is there's a problem in the camp.
You're talking about association politics?
The whole association and the whole camp, the whole training program, okay. There's something wrong and people can't point where the problem is.
Let's try to address that. I'll come to the others in just a moment. So first education and then Team Kenya. Is there a problem with it?
Well, as you know, Julie, the Vision 2030 is very clear on the issue of education. First, we address the issue of accessibility as well as affordability and quality, right from the nursery up to the university level. So we are actually talking about universal access. But this is an area where you cannot purely depend on the public sector. That's why the government is encouraging private universities to flourish in the country. Now, there are quite a number of private universities which have come up. But at the same time, we are increasing the facilities in public universities. Now we have 10 public universities, and as we now have devolved, we're now saying that we want a university for every county. That will make them 47, like they did in the United States. They started with the state universities. This will increase the space numbers so that you don't have to congest other universities through parallel programs. You put a lot of pressure on the teaching staff of those universities, and sometimes also compromises the quality of education. So all I want to tell, what's her name? I think,
the young lady from Yale
from Yale University. I've given actually a talk at Yale University in the past. It's one of the Ivy League universities. And she's very lucky to actually be studying in Yale. We will be having Yale of Kenya also very soon.
Which county will it be? That's the big question.
Yes, and equivalent of Harvard, equivalent of Stanford. I just remembered a few of the Ivy League institutions in our country. We are putting in a lot of money in manpower development and also research in our institutions, because we cannot really achieve the aims and the objects of the Vision 2030 without highly skilled manpower in the country.
Right, education critical,
yes.
Giving people the skills they need to contribute. The question of Team Kenya, look, there's been lots of chatter all over the place about what's going on, and the question being asked is, in the camp, in the training, in the associations, what's your assessment? And I don't know if you want anybody else to chip in, but let me bring it to you, Bonoki.
Well, the minister can go first.
Waziri, please begin for us. Is there a serious problem?
First of all, I have to say that Team Kenya here, there is no any issues of associations, because it's being managed by the National Olympics Committee of Kenya, which is chaired by Kipchoge Keino, who is here. And I think he'll be in a position to tell you whether there has been any problems in NOC or in the camp or anything. But as far as I'm concerned, since I joined the team here in the UK, I think we have been going through what we're supposed to go through. All the players are in the village, they are staying in the village, and there are clear restrictions on what happens in the village, and that is for the almost the 205 nations that are represented here in the UK. They all are living under similar conditions. The team was selected in a very open manner in Kenya. You remember we had our trials and final selections in Nyayo Stadium, and those who were first were selected, and there has been not any issue about that. I think on the technical issues and things to do with NOC, Kipchoge Keino here, who is the team leader, actually can give us an overall view on what is happening. Kip.
Thank you. The Team Kenya here is doing very well. We live in the village, and everybody they are in the village. And we are doing very well. Every morning we have a meeting with the athletes and the official. We have a prayer, which we pray for the day. We go for training. We have a program which everyone has to go for the competition. And we have done very well. We have no problem in the village. We are really managed. The standard of competition, which is giving Kenya worries, is that team has to be prepared. And the standard of competition here is very high. Take, for example, America. In 400 meters, there's nobody from America. 400 meters hurdles, there was nobody from America. And the event they have been holding, the 100 meters, also has been very tough. So we need to go back and have a round table and see way forward, what we need, what we are missing, and we need to correct ourselves. The standard in the world of sports has gone very high. And mind you, we need to improve on infrastructure. We need to have coaches, and coaches who are capable of giving them proper training. And those are the most important for all of us. We have a lot of talent in the country. And our youth are doing well. And I've given you assurance we will win some more medals. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So investment into sport, new technologies, development of our coaches, is this something that the government is looking at?
Yes, certainly the government is prepared to put more resources to improve the standard of sports in the country. Not just athletics, but other sports as well. Our athletics standard has been fairly high. Most of these athletes have been basically depending on natural talents. Very little has you can say is attributable to training. Those who train actually train outside the country. We want to create facilities through which they can train within our own country. We want then also to diversify. Because as you know, Kenya is now just known for long distance races. We start from 800 meters to marathon. We are not down there in the sprints, 100 meters, 200 meters and so on. Yes, you have people who can actually sprint. You remember in Munich Olympics, Julia Sang actually won a bronze medal in 400 meters. And Kenya actually got a gold in 4x400 meters relay. And in Mexico City it was a silver. And so we can get sprinters. But sprinting requires more facilities. You need a gym to develop the muscles that give you the pull.
The power to push.
Power to push.
Yes.
And then in indoor games, also you have seen boxing. We used to be very good in the past. It's no longer the case. There are other sports like swimming, where we only have the Danforths, yet we are a country surrounded by water, and we can produce some very good swimmers. We used to also be good in hockey, no longer the case. Basketball, even soccer is now being introduced as an human soccer is also here as an Olympic event. Country like Japan is now in the finals. The field events in athletics, things like triple jump, things like long jump, high jump.
We did have a javelin, we did have someone representing us, but that was because of his own initiative.
Exactly. Things like discus, shot put, weightlifting, and all these countries like Jamaica, countries like Cuba, for example, can be excelling in those fields. There's no reason why Kenya cannot. But these are areas where we need to invest in facilities to do well.
Okay. Let's go to Anne and then Joe. I'm going to end with Joe because the issue of digital and selling Kenya online to the world is so important. Anne, come in please with your thoughts and comments for the Prime Minister.
Yes, hello Prime Minister. I lived and worked in Kenya for about a year, and I witnessed a lot of creativity, innovation, hard work and opportunities for people there really, and for investors and for tourists. And I'm just wondering, how do you plan to build on the positive image that Kenya has been promoting here at London 2012 to next year and the next year as we move forward with Kenya?
Thank you for that. Joe, please come in here, and part of what we're doing here online is telling the world what Kenya is about. Give us your thoughts and your comments on brand Kenya, and any questions perhaps for the Prime Minister.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. As you know, I was with you in London last week. Now I'm in Nairobi in very heavy rain. I hope you can hear me.
We can.
And I have to say, it's actually amazing. I feel like we're still together, except we're using technology. I'm actually parked on the side of the road using 3G internet in Nairobi to be able to have this hangout. Yeah. So the internet seems to be working quite well. I would say the one thing that seems to be a concern for me is coming out of London and the positive attitude that we have and messages that we've been giving. I think we need to also evangelize to Kenyans themselves. I think we don't appreciate the value and the things that are being done both by the government and the communities. So it just seems that people are not as positive, Kenyans themselves, and we need to do some work to that extent. In terms of digital and the experience that we're having, first of all, Bona Prime Minister, thank you very much for taking the lead, for being on a hangout. This demonstrates leading from the top. Kenya has been left behind for quite a while in terms of just the digital age. And it's great to see you start, these campaigns, get online, and actually encourage people to be able to reach and talk to you. This kind of openness is great. I believe based on this, we're beginning to see, various government institutions also taking up digital. We were with the National Museums yesterday, also having a hangout. Very, very good conversations, and the attitudes and what we can expect to see in the future online is actually going to be great. So I think there's huge opportunities, but the government is still the largest consumer of services and has the largest information. So pushing more and more content online, and the government to just adopt this kind of communication is fairly important. And thank you for that.
Thank you. Let me link those two. So what Anne is asking is, looking at what you've achieved with Kenya House, how you're going to build on that and all the opportunities, the vibrancy that exists in Kenya. How are we going to build on all this moving forward? And I think, from Joe's perspective, just reiterating the fact that we are doing so well in terms of our connectivity, for instance, but we really need to see government engaging even deeper in terms of putting content online. I know it's already happening with some ministries, but go ahead with your thoughts on it.
Well, this is a super highway, communications highway that we can only ignore at our own peril, that we can make use of it to our great advantage. As we are saying, we want to position Kenya as a communications hub of not just East Africa, but African continent. So we must therefore empower our people through training so that they become literate, and that this technophobia that is so easily perceptible in the country can die away, so that our people embrace this new technology as a means of communication with each other. It saves time. You don't have to be involved in, unless a lot of correspondences, the PO box era.
Even traveling to some meetings, you could simply do this kind of thing.
Do it, and first e-government is a starting point, and we've been working towards introducing e-government in the country. And so I think we need to put more effort in that direction. But the other one, I am very happy. What is his name again?
Anne?
No.
The lady, Joe.
Joe, I'm very, very impressed by the positive attitude that Joe has expressed here. Because as I was saying earlier on in another forum, there are sometimes a lot of negativity. Like when the president came here last week with that big delegation, there were a lot of negative comments about it. Waste of public funds, taking such a bloated team to London. But this was an investment conference coming to market Kenya to a bigger audience here. And it was a multi-sectoral conference, because they were talking about energy, they were talking about infrastructure, there's roads, ports, airports, tourism, pipeline, railway, and so on, so even agriculture, and trade generally.
Real estate development.
Yeah, exactly. So you needed that kind of delegation to come and explain. People will not just come looking for you. You need to know that we live in a very competitive world. Other countries are also showcasing themselves, marketing themselves. So Kenya is not alone here. So we should not, for example, insist that our officials, ministers, and permanent secretaries must remain in situ. Because last week I gave an account of expenditures and travel by ministries. And each time the figure was low, I got a cheer. And if the figure was up, then there were whistling.
But that's got nothing to do with productivity,
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
What I'm saying is, last 2 weeks ago, I went to China with a delegation of 5 ministers. The trip might have cost 10 million shillings to the taxpayer. But we managed to sign contracts worth over 5 billion shillings. Some of them grants So if you compare the benefits of that trip to the nation, it far outweighs the expenses that were incurred in sending that delegation there. So our country will only be able to access the requisite capital that we need for development on our Vision 2030 if we are able to engage other countries, and all the trips that are being undertaken by public servants are vetted first before they are undertaken and approved. In the case of ministers, by the president himself. In the case of permanent secretaries, again by ministers. So it's not as if these are joyrides, the people are just going on holidays. In fact, when you get out here, you work more than you work when
It's true. It's true. Out here, it's lonely. It's not very warm, and you work harder, and there's no gully, and there's no nyamachoma. So, yeah. So thank you for that. And perhaps just to wind up, and I'll give you a chance to give a final statement to everybody watching. But just to wind up, in 2008, when Kenya formed its coalition government, came out of the post-election phase, a strong government delegation and a private sector delegation was led by you at the World Economic Forum on Africa in Cape Town, South Africa, and that had a huge impact on telling the world Kenya is back on track and getting some serious investment into the country. And so these initiatives are critical for our country, but if you are busy throwing stones online and in other forums, then that remains a problem for Kenya. So you need to ask yourself, constructive criticism is important. It is clear we need it for our country, but are you throwing stones and hampering the development of the country, or are you strategically asking questions that build the nation? I think just an important thing to say. Bwana, PM, please give your final word to everybody watching.
Well, I really want to thank those who have been with us online this afternoon. I want to say that I've been very encouraged by the attitude of a number of other Kenyans I meet outside, the diaspora. I see that the diaspora is ready and willing to play their part in the development of our country. And back home, I also know that there are quite a number of our people who are very patriotic and want to see Kenya go through. We will only be able to achieve our objectives as stated in Vision 2030 when we work together as one team, where everybody plays their part. So we are trying to play our part. I want to urge each and every Kenyan to play their part. Outside here, there is some kind of apprehension, fear that we may go for a repeat of what happened in 2008.
God forbid.
And I know that majority of Kenyans don't want to ever see that. They say never, never, never again. Let us unite as one Kenya. Let us shy away from politics of ethnic balkanization, ethnic polarization. It does not help. Let us be one people belonging to one country, one great nation called the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you so much. Bwana PM. Ida, please wave at everybody for us. We also have Ida Odinga with us, and she's just going to wave at everyone. Say hi. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, Ida.
Thank you all so much for joining us. God bless you. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.